We often assume, and maybe we have been told, that whenever we are going through pain and suffering in our life, that all that God expects of us is to call on him to get us out of it. That all that God expects of us is to have a faith big enough to believe that he'll get us out of it. No, in one sense, I already talked about holding on to God's promise, right? But what I don't like about that message is that it assumes that there's no reason for us being in that time, and that there's nothing expected of us in the way that we ought to live through moments or seasons of exile. Right? Just consider this. What kind of a masochistic God would God be if the only reason that he sent us into times of suffering was so that we would try to find a way out of it? That's not good news. God, why would you send me into suffering just so I could try to get out of it? Why would you send me into suffering just so that I could sit here and wail and cry out to you that you would end it? Right? You see, and I've preached on this passage before, we forget that yes, God calmed the storm that Jesus calmed the storm that the disciples were in, but then he turned to them and rebuked them for having no faith. You see, I think God allows us to go into our times of suffering, exile, wilderness, and whatever kind that might be, right? Relational, just something internal you're going through. And I believe that he has a reason for us going through it. He has a redemptive purpose. He has a calling and an invitation waiting for us in the wilderness. That if we would accept that responsibility upon our lives, then it would fuel us with the purpose that we need to then live out the responsibility, right? To shoulder the burden that he has given us, and to do so in a way that we might say is thriving. Because that is what he promises to the people of Israel who are in exile. He says, pursue the well-being. He says, and whenever you do, you will thrive. Accept my calling and you will thrive. What if God desires you to nobly accept the responsibility that comes with the place that he has put you in, and not just an expectation to try to find a way out of it? Here's what this means for us. It means accept the responsibility that comes with wherever God places you. And wherever you do, don't be surprised if you experience a great source of purpose that comes with it. So much so that you might even be said to thrive while you're in the wilderness, or thrive while you're in exile. Whenever we look around at the world, we see that the world and we see that life is a place that is full of suffering and that is in need of redemption. Sometimes we are just observers to the suffering of life and the need for redemption. Other times we experience it. We're not just spectators, but we're the ones going through it. We're the ones going through the ringer. We're the ones walking the hard road. We're the ones that feel alone, or we're the ones that feel oppressed. We're the ones that feel like we've got the weight of the world going against us. This is the place that we live in. But here's the good news of this passage, and I believe that this is the good news of Scripture for us people living in a fallen world of sin, suffering, and in need of redemption, that because God makes you agents of redemption, and that because God, who is in control of all things, has an invitation waiting for you, that in every instance of suffering that we see in this world, there's an opportunity, if we will accept the responsibility God places on our life, to change it for the better. At this intersection between the world's suffering and our calling, God makes us agents of redemption. And whenever we go there and we accept that responsibility and that purpose He has placed on our life, there is immense purpose to be found. Something that is so much better than just sitting back and remaining in that comfortable place. Something that is so much better than just passively sitting by whenever you're going through suffering, trying to distract yourself through entertainment, or trying to avoid or get out of or take shortcuts out of the wilderness that you're in. That purpose that comes with accepting the responsibility God places on our life is so much better. And if we would just quit, right, choosing the American way, right? If we would just quit choosing that way of that promises of a life of nothing but ease and comfort, and instead choose the Christian way. If we go to that intersection that God has for us in life, then there you will find a source of meaning for your life that will shield you against all the storms that comes with living in this world.